Before the full supermoon on 3rd December, something unusual begins to stir inside you. It doesn't arrive with noise or drama. It arrives like a quiet shift in the air, a subtle rearranging of your inner world. Your intuition sharpens. You feel it before you understand it. And this sense, this inner whisper, pushes you to look at your life with a clarity you didn't have a week earlier. It's almost as if the path ahead becomes slightly illuminated, not by logic, but by an invisible light guiding you toward what needs attention. On the days leading up to 3rd December, the mind becomes sensitive in a different way. You begin to pick up tension in places you normally ignore. You begin to sense truths about people without needing proof. You become aware of the decisions you've been postponing. Every hesitation, every fear, every unresolved situation starts pressing gently on your awareness, not to overwhelm you, but to wake you. The energy of this time pushes your intuition forward like a hand placed on your back, firm, steady, insisting you move. This sharpened intuition isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It speaks in feelings that rise suddenly and vanish just as quickly. A thought that tells you to stop. A feeling that tells you to go. A sense of uneasiness that warns you. A spark of excitement that draws you closer. These are not accidents. These are signals that become more visible as the full supermoon approaches. And when you begin to notice them, you start to understand that intuition is not a mystical gift. It is a natural part of self-growth. A sense that grows stronger the moment you stop ignoring it. 3rd December carries a specific kind of clarity. It invites you to see what has been draining you. It invites you to see what has been supporting you. It reveals patterns in your behavior, patterns you may have justified for months. Suddenly, you know what you need to walk away from. You know what you need to begin. You know the conversations you've avoided and the boundaries you've never set. It is not the world outside that changes. It is your inner perception that sharpens. This shift is not comfortable, but it is necessary. When intuition becomes sharper, illusions break. Toxic routines lose their disguise. People who hide their intentions become easy to read. You begin to sense who respects your energy and who only drains it. You start recognizing where your time goes, where your confidence leaks, where your strength is wasted. Nothing external forces this awareness. It rises naturally from within. And 3rd December acts as a mirror, reflecting your truth without softening it. The most powerful part of this intuition awakening is the truth it shows about yourself. You see your own excuses. You see the habits that hold you back. You feel the gap between who you are and who you want to become. This is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to ignite you. When the supermoon approaches, it doesn't just reveal what's wrong in your life, it reveals what is possible. It shows you the strength you forgot, the discipline you once had, the dreams you slowly allowed to fade because life got heavy. Suddenly, you feel the quiet pressure to rise again. You begin to trust the voice inside you, the one you silence when you get too busy, too tired, too distracted. This voice becomes louder as 3rd December gets closer. It tells you to step away from noise. It tells you to create space. It tells you to stop chasing what doesn't feel right. It tells you to protect your energy. It tells you that not everything deserves access to your mind. This is not superstition. This is alignment. And once you feel it, you cannot unfeel it. Intuition sharpens most intensely when you're about to level up. The discomfort you feel is part of the process. The inner pull you feel is real. The restlessness you feel is your old self cracking. You are being pushed toward a new chapter, whether you feel ready or not. And the closer the world moves toward 3rd December, the more clearly you sense this shift. It's the moment where you realize that self-growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you stop betraying your inner knowing. When intuition becomes stronger, excuses lose power. You stop seeking validation. You stop trying to fit into places you've outgrown. You stop pretending you're fine with situations you've tolerated for too long. The full supermoon amplifies that inner courage, making you face your truth without running from it. It teaches you that real strength is not in controlling the outside world, it is in mastering your inner world. As 3rd December approaches, allow the intuition rising within you to guide your steps. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. Let the quiet voice inside you become your compass. Let it lead you through the noise. Let it show you what you've been avoiding and what you've been destined to move toward. This sharpened intuition is not a warning, it is an invitation to grow, an invitation to rise, an invitation to finally choose the version of yourself you've been postponing. And when you follow it, everything begins to align. As the full supermoon approaches on 3rd December, emotions begin to rise from places inside you that you thought were quiet. This is not a mistake, not a weakness, not a sign of losing control. This is the moment where the layers you've been holding down start to lift. Emotions become stronger because the truth inside you refuses to stay hidden any longer. When energy intensifies before 3rd December, your inner world becomes louder than your outer world. You start feeling things you didn't want to feel, remembering things you thought you moved past, facing thoughts you pushed aside for months. This emotional wave is not here to break you, it's here to clean you. There are moments in life where silence inside you becomes heavier than noise. Before 3rd December, this silence begins to crack. Every emotion that rises has a message. Anger reveals where your boundaries were crossed. Sadness reveals what you've outgrown. Frustration shows you where you stopped being honest with yourself. Anxiety points toward the changes you need but haven't made. These emotions feel intense because they are waking you up. They refuse to let you continue on autopilot. They drag you back into yourself so you can see what needs to be healed. When the emotional tide rises, don't fight it. Fighting only makes the wave stronger. Instead, observe it. See what it is showing you. You'll notice that many of the feelings you experience before 3rd December are not new. They're old emotions resurfacing because you've reached a point where carrying them further will only weigh you down. Growth demands release, and release is always emotional. The days leading up to 3rd December feel like an internal echo chamber. You become aware of every unresolved memory. You start remembering promises you broke with yourself. You begin noticing the gap between how you feel and how you pretend to feel. The supermoon energy draws out the truth from inside you. It doesn't care about the mask you show the world. It cares about the reality you've been avoiding. This is why emotions intensify. They want your attention. There is a moment when you realize emotional intensity is actually a sign of strength. It means your heart is still awake. It means you still have the capacity to feel, to heal, to transform. Many people shut down emotionally because it's easier than facing themselves. But before 3rd December, you don't get that luxury. The internal pressure pushes everything upward. You're forced to choose, run from your emotions, or rise above them. One leads to repetition, the other leads to evolution. When emotions become strong, you see your truth without filters. You see where you've been settling. You see where you've been resisting change. You see the people who no longer deserve access to your energy. You see the habits that drain your strength. And you see, maybe for the first time, the version of yourself you are meant to step into. But to reach that version, you must strip away what no longer serves you. Emotional intensity is the beginning of that process. 3rd December acts like a mirror. Not the kind you hang on a wall, but the kind that reflects your inner landscape. You start understanding why certain things hurt you. You see why certain situations keep repeating. You notice the wounds you never fully addressed. And sometimes the emotional wave feels overwhelming because you're finally confronting what you once buried. But the truth is simple. What rises is ready to be released. Feelings that intensify before 3rd December are signals that your life is shifting direction. Signals that your heart is preparing for alignment. Signals that you are entering a new chapter. They are not punishments. They are instructions. If you ignore them, you stay stuck. If you listen, you grow. The emotional heaviness during this time teaches you responsibility for your inner world. You stop blaming others for the pain they triggered. You start taking ownership of what you allowed. You begin to understand that emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It's about learning to navigate them without losing yourself. This is the work that transforms a person from within. This is the work that 3rd December demands. When emotions rise, some will try to distract themselves, eat more, scroll more, complain more, but nothing numbs a soul that is meant to awaken. The emotional intensity keeps returning until you finally listen. And the moment you stop running from yourself, everything becomes clearer. You begin to see the lesson inside the feeling. You begin to see the direction inside the discomfort. You begin to see the new beginning hidden inside the chaos. Before 3rd December, let the emotional wave wash through you. Let it show you where you've been holding tension. Let it reveal the parts of you that still hurt. Let it strip away the pride that keeps you stuck. Let it teach you the patience you've avoided practicing. Every surge of emotion is guiding you somewhere higher, somewhere more honest, somewhere more aligned with the person you are becoming. This emotional intensity is not the end of your stability, it's the beginning of your transformation. It is the moment where your heart learns to speak louder than your fears. It is the moment where your growth becomes more important than your comfort. And it is the moment where the truth inside you rises to prepare you for what 3rd December will unlock. Let the emotions rise. Let them teach you. Let them free you. As the energy builds toward 3rd December, something inside you begins to shift in a way you can't ignore. You start noticing patterns not out in the world, but within yourself. Patterns of behavior, patterns of reaction, patterns of thought that have been running quietly in the background of your life. Before the full supermoon, these patterns suddenly become clear. It feels like someone wiped the dust off the mirror, and for the first time, you see what has been guiding your choices without your awareness. This clarity isn't random. It's a sign that your inner world is waking up. In the days leading to 3rd December, situations that used to confuse you begin to make sense. People's actions connect in ways you didn't see before. The lessons behind your challenges start to reveal themselves. You look back on the past months, and instead of chaos, you begin to see a storyline. Moments that once felt disconnected suddenly align. The misunderstandings, the disappointments, the delays, the unexpected turns, they all begin to point to something, growth. This is how inner awareness works. It doesn't show up when you demand it. It appears when you're finally ready to see. And right before 3rd December, you are ready. It is in these moments that you start to understand the deeper purpose behind certain experiences. You notice that every time you ignored your intuition, life pushed you back into the same loop. You see that every time you tried to force something that wasn't for you, the universe pulled it out of your hands. You recognize how many times you stayed silent when you should have spoken, or how often you reacted when you should have paused. These realizations are not meant to shame you. They're meant to guide you. They show you the map you've been unconsciously following so you can rewrite it with awareness. When clarity arrives, it doesn't feel dramatic. It feels like understanding, a simple, grounded knowing. You look at people differently. You see their intentions without needing them to explain. You understand why certain connections faded. You understand why certain opportunities didn't open. You understand why your energy feels different around certain individuals. Nothing outside has changed, but your perception has sharpened. This sharpening is part of the transformation leading up to 3rd December. It trains you to see beyond words, beyond appearances, beyond temporary emotions. It teaches you to recognize patterns that either elevate you or trap you. You begin to identify what strengthens your spirit and what weakens it. You notice the habits that support your growth and the ones that sabotage it. And once you see these patterns, you cannot unsee them. Awareness becomes responsibility. The power of 3rd December lies in this understanding. Your life is shaped not only by what you feel or believe, but by what you repeatedly do. Every routine thought, every repeated reaction, every familiar behavior forms a pattern that becomes a path. If the path leads nowhere, the pattern must be broken. Before the full supermoon, life gives you the clarity to recognize which paths you've outgrown. It shows you the cycles that keep returning because you keep repeating them. And it shows you the moments where you quietly betrayed your own growth without realizing it. Seeing these patterns is the first step toward breaking them. Many people move through life repeating the same stories because they never stop to observe themselves. They blame circumstances, blame timing, blame others. But before 3rd December, the truth becomes harder to avoid. The pattern is the teacher. Every emotional trigger points to a lesson. Every repeated challenge asks the same question: will you choose differently this time? When awareness becomes sharper, your excuses lose power. You can't pretend not to know. You can no longer walk blindly. The clarity forces honesty. And honesty is the beginning of real self-growth. When you notice these patterns, you begin to understand your own strength more clearly. You see where you held on too tightly, not because it was right, but because you were afraid of letting go. You see where you gave too much of yourself without receiving anything in return. You see where you ignored your limits in an attempt to fit into spaces that were too small for you. This clarity isn't comfortable, but it liberates you. It frees you from repeating old versions of yourself. 3rd December acts like a turning point. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Your vision becomes sharper. Your decisions become cleaner. Your mindset becomes aligned with the person you are becoming rather than the person you were. You start choosing differently because you finally understand your patterns. You begin responding instead of reacting. You begin protecting your energy instead of giving it away freely. You begin building habits that support your future instead of feeding your past. This is the true gift of the supermoon energy, awareness. Once you recognize a pattern, you gain the power to break it. And when you break it, you create space for a new one, a pattern of strength, a pattern of discipline, a pattern of clarity, a pattern of self-respect. This is how transformation happens, not through sudden change, but through conscious repetition of better choices. Before 3rd December arrives, pay attention to what life is showing you. Every moment of clarity is a doorway. Every realization is a key. Every pattern you uncover brings you closer to your new chapter. You are not meant to stay who you were. You are meant to evolve, and awareness is the light that guides you toward that evolution. As the energy rises toward 3rd December, the body becomes the first place where the shift announces itself. Long before the mind understands what is happening, the body already knows. It reacts, it adjusts, it warns, it prepares. This is why, in the days leading up to the full supermoon, you begin feeling changes you cannot explain logically. Some moments, your energy rises sharply, almost like a sudden fire within you. Other moments your body feels heavy, as if it wants to rest, reset, release. These sensations are not random. They are signals that something inside you is moving. When the body feels the approaching energy of 3rd December, it behaves like a sensitive instrument. It reacts to stress you didn't notice before. It demands more rest than usual. It rejects noise, chaos, and unnecessary interaction. Your appetite changes. Your sleep becomes irregular. Some nights your mind stays awake, even when you are tired. Other nights you fall into a deep, heavy sleep that feels like your body is repairing itself. All of this is part of the alignment process. The body is clearing space for the internal transformation that is coming. One of the strongest signs you experience before 3rd December is sensitivity, physical and emotional. You may feel more reactive to light, sound, people, or even your own thoughts. This is not weakness. This is awareness becoming sharper. Your body amplifies sensations, so you can no longer ignore what you've been suppressing. The tension in your shoulders tells you where you've been carrying stress for too long. The discomfort in your stomach reveals the emotions you never allowed yourself to process. The heaviness in your chest reflects the words you never spoke. The body speaks in ways the mind often refuses to hear. This is why many people feel restless before the full supermoon. Your body is recalibrating. It tries to align your inner state with the outer energy shift of 3rd December, and alignment always requires clearing. Clearing requires discomfort. The body shows you where your habits are draining you, where your boundaries are weak, where your discipline has slipped. It pushes you to slow down, breathe deeper, move differently, and act with intention. The closer 3rd December comes, the more your body insists that you listen. Physical symptoms before the supermoon often feel strange, but meaningful. Sudden fatigue that lasts only minutes but feels like a wave. A feeling of pressure around the head or forehead. Random heat rising through the spine. A burst of energy followed by stillness. These sensations are not signs of sickness. They are signs of shifting. Your body is releasing old energy, preparing you to step into a new chapter with a lighter inner state. When your body becomes aware of change, it demands preparation. This is why ignoring your body during this time becomes dangerous. If you suppress these signs, the internal tension builds. But if you listen, you begin to understand the deeper intelligence of your physical self. The body is your oldest teacher. Every signal is a lesson. Before 3rd December, these lessons become loud. They ask you to stop forcing yourself into routines that drain you. They ask you to rest when you pretend you are fine. They ask you to breathe deeply when your thoughts become crowded. They ask you to drink water when your mind feels heavy. Simple actions hold deep wisdom. There is a reason physical awareness grows before emotional clarity. The body is the foundation. When the foundation is unstable, nothing else can align. This is why your body pushes you to pay attention It refuses to let you carry stress into the next cycle. It refuses to let you ignore the imbalance inside you. It refuses to let you continue habits that weaken your spirit. Before transformation, the body always signals the need for grounding. The connection between the physical and emotional is strongest around 3rd December. You might suddenly feel like laughing or crying without a clear reason. You might feel a strange pressure to be alone. You might feel a desire to clean your space, rearrange your life, or move your body differently. These impulses come from within. They are the body's way of preparing your inner environment for the energetic shift that the supermoon brings. When the body asks for action, it is not asking randomly, it is clearing a path. This is why discipline becomes essential. Discipline in sleep, discipline in breath, discipline in the way you use your energy. The days approaching 3rd December teach you responsibility toward your physical self. Growth is not only mental, it is physical. You cannot rise spiritually if your body collapses under the weight of neglect. The body needs respect. It needs attention. It needs care. Before 3rd December, this truth becomes impossible to ignore. When you listen to your body, you begin to understand the deeper movements of your own life. You see the difference between exhaustion caused by growth and exhaustion caused by misalignment. You learn to identify tension created by fear and tension created by change. You begin to trust your physical instincts. You begin to honor the signals that once felt inconvenient. This awareness becomes one of your greatest strengths. The closer the world moves toward 3rd December, the clearer your body becomes. Every sensation is a message. Every wave of fatigue is a reminder. Every burst of energy is a call forward. The body does not lie. It prepares you for the next version of yourself. And when you listen, you enter the new cycle with balance, strength, and inner clarity. As the energy pulls closer to 3rd December, something subtle but unmistakable begins to happen around you. People start revealing themselves, not through their words, but through their behavior. Masks slip, intentions surface. The truth that was once hidden behind politeness, silence, or routine begins to rise. This is one of the strongest signs you experience before the full supermoon. The world around you becomes clearer because the people within it can no longer hide who they truly are. This shift doesn't happen loudly. It happens in small gestures, small reactions, small actions that speak more than any sentence. On the days approaching 3rd December, you begin noticing these small details. Someone's tone changes. Someone's consistency disappears. Someone's support becomes selective. Someone's attitude reveals envy or care or disinterest. The energy of this period exposes honesty. It doesn't create truth, it simply uncovers it. You might notice that people who once felt comforting now feel draining. Conversations that used to flow now feel forced. Connections that once felt stable now shake. At the same time, you may see new faces offering genuine warmth, unexpected guidance, or clarity you didn't ask for but needed. This is the universe rearranging your social environment. 3rd December marks a point where life begins removing what no longer aligns and revealing what truly belongs. This exposure is not meant to hurt you. It is meant to free you. Many times, you hold on to people because of memories, not because of their current presence. You carry relationships long after the connection has expired. You tolerate behaviors that weaken your spirit simply because you've grown used to them. Before 3rd December, life stops allowing this. It forces you to see the truth behind the roles people play in your life. Some people show their loyalty in quiet ways. They check on you without needing a reason. They support you without expecting anything back. They celebrate you without competing. These individuals shine even brighter during this period. Their consistency becomes impossible to overlook. Their presence becomes a grounding force. Their energy aligns with your growth. Others, however, reveal the opposite. Before the full supermoon, you start noticing who gets uncomfortable when you rise, who becomes distant when you grow, who only shows up when they need something, who becomes silent when you succeed. The shift around 3rd December makes these reactions louder. It tears away illusions you once protected. It shows you where sincerity ends and convenience begins. This is why the days leading to 3rd December can feel isolating. You begin to see the truth behind relationships you once trusted. But this loneliness is not emptiness, it is cleansing. It creates space. Space for new connections. Space for healthier bonds. Space for people who resonate with where you are going, not where you have been. Growth always requires release, and release begins with recognition. You also begin to witness your own role in every connection. You see where you gave too much, where you accepted too little, where you ignored signs, where you stayed silent when boundaries were needed. People's behavior exposes their character, but it also exposes your patterns. This awareness is what transforms you. It teaches you the kind of energy you should allow, the type of behavior you must no longer accept, and the standard you need to live by. As 3rd December approaches, your awareness sharpens to the point where manipulation becomes obvious. Disrespect becomes visible. Inconsistency becomes clear. You stop making excuses for anyone because the truth becomes undeniable. Your inner compass gets stronger. You start trusting the feeling that whispers, "This person is not for you." At the same time, you begin to recognize the people who bring peace into your life without trying. The people who support your growth because they want you to rise, not because they gain something from it. This period teaches you one powerful truth. The energy of the people you surround yourself with shapes your path. If you walk with those who carry fear, you shrink. If you walk with those who carry envy, you dim. But if you walk with those who carry clarity, your vision opens. If you walk with those who carry discipline, your strength increases. And if you walk with those who carry peace, your spirit becomes unshakable. This is why 3rd December acts as a filter. It filters out the noise. It filters out the distractions. It filters out the connections that were meant only for a season. You begin to understand that letting go is not losing. Letting go is choosing yourself, choosing your growth, choosing your peace, choosing your future. People's behavior becomes the map. It shows you who walks beside you, who walks behind you, and who should no longer walk with you at all. It teaches you the difference between presence and attachment, support and dependence, connection and convenience. Before 3rd December arrives, pay attention to what people show you. Not what they say, not what they promise, but what they reveal through action. This awareness will protect your energy. It will strengthen your judgment. It will sharpen your intuition, and it will prepare your life for the new cycle, waiting on the other side of the supermoon. The truth becomes clearer now because you are ready to see it. And when you see it, you become impossible to deceive, impossible to manipulate, and impossible to pull away from your own growth. As the energy builds toward 3rd December, something deep inside you begins to shift, not outwardly, but inwardly, in the quiet space where truth can't be avoided. This is the sign that life is pushing you into the next version of yourself, whether you feel ready or not. Growth doesn't wait for perfect timing. It arrives exactly when the old version of you becomes too small to hold the person you're becoming. And around 3rd December, this becomes unmistakably clear. You start feeling a strange heaviness that has nothing to do with stress. It's the weight of everything you've outgrown. Old habits feel tight. Old thoughts feel draining. Old desires feel shallow. Even your environment starts feeling unfamiliar, as if you're standing in a place that no longer fits your spirit. This discomfort is not a punishment. It's an invitation. Life is telling you you can't stay here anymore. Before 3rd December, this inner pull becomes stronger. You may find yourself needing more silence, more space to think, more moments alone where you're forced to face what you've been avoiding. Growth always begins with honesty, and honesty always begins with stillness. This is why you feel called inward. You're being asked to sit with your truth without escaping it. You will notice that your reactions start changing. Things that once irritated you no longer matter. Things that once excited you begin losing their appeal. Things that once controlled you no longer hold the same power. This is the quiet dismantling of the old self. Your identity is shifting, your priorities are rearranging, and your energy is choosing a new direction. It may feel confusing, but it is the most natural process of evolution. Approaching 3rd December, the universe doesn't just reveal the truth in others, it reveals the truth in you. You start seeing your own patterns with clarity. You recognize where you have been holding yourself back. You understand which fears have been shaping your decisions. You notice the excuses you kept repeating to avoid the work. This awareness hits sharply, but it is necessary. You can't transform a life you refuse to acknowledge. Then something powerful happens. You begin feeling a rising urge to reset, to let go, to simplify, to remove anything that doesn't match your growth. This is not impulsive, it is instinctual. It is the part of you that already knows what must be released so you can step into who you are meant to become. After 3rd December, the body feels it, the mind senses it, the spirit confirms it. You may feel the desire to clean your space, reorganize your environment, or detach from unhealthy routines. You may feel the need to speak your truth, set new boundaries, or break habits you've carried for years. Everything in you starts preparing for a higher level of living. And with every step you take, you feel lighter, more aligned, more awake. The days leading to 3rd December bring a kind of internal purification. Old emotions start rising to the surface, not to overwhelm you, but to leave you. You might feel sudden sadness, bursts of clarity, waves of strength, or moments of restlessness. This emotional movement is your inner world rearranging itself. Nothing leaves your life unless something greater is trying to take its place. This period teaches you to trust the process without rushing it. Growth does not always look beautiful. Sometimes it feels like confusion. Sometimes it feels like losing your balance. Sometimes it feels like standing between two worlds, the past you've outgrown and the future you are building. But every transformation feels uncertain before it feels right. Approaching 3rd December, you begin realizing you don't need approval to evolve. You don't need permission to change. You don't need validation to grow. The only person who must believe in your transformation is you. And once you understand this, your power multiplies. Your decisions start aligning with your purpose. Your thoughts start aligning with your strength. Your actions start aligning with your vision. You begin stepping into a state where you no longer chase growth, you embody it. And with this embodiment comes a powerful truth. Growth is not something that happens to you. Growth is something you choose. You choose to move forward even when it's uncomfortable. You choose to release what no longer contributes to your peace. You choose to build yourself piece by piece through discipline, awareness, and courage. As 3rd December draws closer, you're being prepared for a breakthrough disguised as a transition. Life is clearing your path, sharpening your intuition, and strengthening your spirit. Everything you feel during this time, every shift, every discomfort, every realization is guiding you toward the next version of yourself. This is not the end of a chapter. This is the resurfacing of your true nature. When the energy of 3rd December arrives, you will feel a sense of alignment that you haven't felt in a long time. You will understand why certain things had to fall apart. You will understand why certain truths needed to be revealed. You will understand why your spirit was restless. It wasn't breaking, it was expanding. The growth you are stepping into now is permanent. It is intentional. It is the beginning of a new level of clarity, discipline, and purpose. Let the transformation unfold. Let the old self dissolve. Let the new self rise. Because this time, the change isn't happening around you. It is happening within you.